And then we have to add to these a third thing. And this comes from law. And in the field of law, there is an idea called decisional law. And decisional law means simply, how does a judge learn to judge? I don't know if this is the same in Italian, the noun and the verb. Is it? Yeah. How does a judge learn to judge? Because when you're a judge, the evidence isn't completely clear. You have to make decisions when the evidence is not clear. You may have lots of evidence, but it doesn't give you the answer by itself. How do you learn to judge? You learn to judge through practice. You learn to judge by having many cases. Your own cases, other people's cases, cases you reflect on yourself, cases you reflect on with others around you. How does a doctor learn to judge a brain scan? A brain scan doesn't say to the doctor, I have cancer. It's the judgment the doctor brings to the scan that tells them it is a cancer and not just a photographic error. It's the judgment that matters. I say this because in the Anglo-Saxon countries now, and perhaps also a little in Italy, more and more attention is being paid to data, to test score data, to examination data, to attendance data. I have been to Fiat Motors and interviewed half the executive of Fiat Motors in Turin, related to a new book we will be publishing in a few months. And at Fiat Motors, like every industry, they tag their processes green for satisfactory, amber, we need to worry, red, falling behind, need to intervene. These systems are in place in many countries now for children. So in Canada, in England, I can take you to thousands of schools where there are charts in the school with all the children's names in all the classes, and every teacher can see every child, green, amber, or red, every week. Every week. You look shocked. You look almost as if you're collapsing. Every week. The good news about this, when it works well, is that teachers together will look at the chart every 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. They'll look at all the children. The teacher in grade 1 of 5-year-olds will feel responsible for what is happening to a child in grade 6, 11-year-olds, because they used to be in grade 1. They have collective responsibility for all the children. When the data are used well, they create good conversations about real children to make quick interventions before they fall behind. Are you following me? That's with good leadership when teachers are good colleagues. With weak leadership where teachers are poor colleagues, and we have also seen this in Canada and elsewhere. People will look at the numbers and they will try very quickly to find a magic solution to eliminate all the reds. Perhaps a bit more time, a bit more practice, a quick solution that is not about learning, but is only about the numbers. So the data do not give you the answer. The data are there to start to help a conversation about children based on judgment of the data, judgment of the children, and judgment about teaching and learning. Decisional capital is about how you develop this judgment over many years. And this is what it takes. About 10,000 hours is what it takes. Research in England, in Canada, and in California shows that teachers reach their best. They reach the top of their game somewhere between 4 to 8 years in teaching. And then they hold that until about 20 years in teaching, and then it begins to fall away. Not for everyone, but on average. This challenges us to think about two things. One is keep good teachers in teaching long enough until they're into that 4 to 8 year period, because that is when we are getting a return on our investment. So teachers must stay, good teachers must stay long enough, and we need the conditions to support that. The second is in this middle stage between about 4 to 8 and 20 years. Usually what happens in school is this is the time when we leave teachers alone. We think, they're okay now. We'll concentrate on the ones at the beginning and on all these problems at the end. And the ones in the middle, they're okay. So we'll leave them alone. You know what happens? They become like the middle child in the family, or the quiet child in the class. Or the 14-year-old in the middle of their education. They become the one that everybody neglects, that everybody overlooks. And what happens then is it's in the middle when they seem to be doing well and they're okay, but nobody cares, that they begin to fall away. And then you have problems at the end of the career. The problems at the end of the career for many teachers are not because they're old or tired or have aging parents or have other things in their life. The problem is often they've not been stimulated, challenged, given better professional development in the middle years of their career. Because if they had, they'd still be stimulated, learning, engaging, lifelong, all the way through. Pay attention in the middle, or you'll have problems at the end. It's not only about the 10,000 hours of practice and repetition, but it's also the importance of stretching, challenging people. If I learn the guitar, it's easy. It takes some time to do a few chords, A, E, D, E minor, B7. It takes practice over and over for my fingers to get... I think my time is up. It takes time for my fingers to get hard. It takes time to remember how to move them. And then a point comes, if you are musicians, a point comes where you have to try the harder chords. You have to stretch for the bar chords. You have to move your finger. This is very hard. You're stretching your hand, and you have to stretch and stretch and stretch again until you can play it. And this is true of any skill. If you want to get better, you have to practice and repeat, but you also have to stretch and challenge as well. So when you put these three things together, human capital, attract the best people. Social capital, get them to work together. Decisional capital, invest in your teachers throughout all their careers to develop their capacity for judgment. and pay attention to them when they're quiet and they look like they're okay, as well as when they're a problem.